Okay, so yesterday we have seen a couple of things related to the deployment process. Okay, so I explained you the architecture, the server architecture, how it looks like, and what all the components will be there in those servers. Okay, and talk something about front end, back end of your application, and what are all the things we need to host it on for front end. What are all the things we need to host it for back end. I just gave an introduction about it, and we talked about one of the application server, which is Apache Tomcat, and its installation, its deployment, okay, its workflow, entire workflow, like how do we deploy, how do we stop, blah blah blah, all of that. Okay, now let's see the backend part as well. Okay, so as I said, I'll be taking you with one of the database server, which is a Mysql server. Okay, so let's see some introduction about the Mysql, and we'll try to install, we'll try to deploy something, we'll try to take the backup. So we'll perform all the operational activities related to the Mysql. Okay, so Mysql database. So MySQL database is an open source database, guys. So it's freely available. You can download and install. Okay, it's a relational database. Relational database. So what do you mean by relation is it will be having tables. Okay, the data is stored in a form of a table. So if anything is stored in a form of a table, nothing but it's a relational database. Okay, so let's see the installation. Okay, so we need to install the MySQL server, guys. Okay, so typically we need to host a server on your operating system so that you can create a database. Okay, so first you need to install the MySQL server. Okay, so to install it in a Linux machine, it's pretty simple. You just have to make use of the yum install. Okay, MySQL server. That's it. Okay, so if you want, you can just look into the documentation on the MySQL website as well. So you can find somewhere. Yeah, can you see this? Install MySQL server. Okay, so just try to copy this command, put it on your. So it is trying to install the MySQL server now. Say yes. So once it is installed, you should be able to run a command called MySQL. Okay, so this command prompt will be enabled, and you need to log in with a username called root, and the root is a administrator user. Okay, I mean you're trying to log into the database server, guys. Okay, so root is a admin account, and once you logged into the root, then you will be having a SQL prompt. This is called a SQL prompt, SQL. So here you can run the database queries. Okay, so I want you guys to go through with the typical basic DML commands. Okay, so you can just have a look at the documentation of select query, create table, okay, insert table, update table, okay, alter table, drop table, and some date command, and some count, and some order by, okay, and some very few things. Okay, I want I want you guys to work on these queries, guys. Okay, you just type select query in the Google, you can get the entire syntax of the query. It's nothing, it's pretty simple. Select star from your table name. Okay, something like this. So this is an example for select. So you try to just get these queries and keep it in notes so it is useful for you. See, you won't be using in a day-to-day life, but sometimes a developer comes to you and say would you please give me a particular table, particular column data. Okay, if you ask that question, right, so you shouldn't be surprised how to get that. Okay, it's a simple select query, just get it. And somebody may ask you a question, would you please update a field value in so on so table. So you just have to you should know the update command. So try to work with all these queries, guys. You can get the syntaxes in the documentation side. Okay, MySQL documentation. or if you want I can search something good for you. Okay, MySQL basic queries, you just Google it, you will be getting some nice documentations. Yeah, MySQL tutorial for beginners. Yeah, beginners is more than enough for us. Okay, so all the queries are there here. Can you see this? Drop table, create table, okay, select table. So this one page is enough to he's nicely giving the example command and output as well. Just follow this document. Just go through it once. It's more than enough. Let's keep it in a notepad so that you can have a look. I don't want to train the database guys, okay, because that's not my topic or our topic. But having a bit of knowledge is there is no harm in it. Okay, it won't take not even an hour or two for you to go through all of it. So the most important stuff which you need to see with the database is how to install a database server, how to create a database, how to take a backup of the database. So these parts we will be doing it most of the time. Okay, is it installed? Yeah, the database server has been successfully installed. You cross check guys whether the database is installed properly or not. Try to check. Okay, MySQL command is not working at the moment. The reason it is, yeah, so you installed a 5.1.3 guys. Okay, so MySQL version 5.1.3 is the version which you installed right now. To log into your MySQL server, MySQL-u root, type this. You can't log in because the MySQL server you installed it, but maybe it is not started. You need to start that. Okay, so to start it, there is a command called sudo etc uh, something. What is it? Etc init init MySQL. Yep, this is the one. This is the command which will help you to start your MySQL server. So this will show you what exactly the status of your MySQL. When you run this command, it says MySQL is stopped. Try to note it down, this guys. So before starting this, you check your version like this, -version. Okay. Then once that is done on your $prompt, okay. So this will give you status. If you want to start that, simply start. Okay. Start. Right. Your MySQL has been successfully started, guys. Uh, it's giving something for you to start MySQL at boot time. You have to copy. Okay, so in case if you want to start this as part of your operating system, right, you can perform this. Just copy this file into supporting files. It will reboot as part of your installation. It will just start it. Next, now once it is started, now MySQL-u root, you should be able to log in. Can you see this, guys? Are you in a MySQL prompt? Okay, it's not SQL, MySQL. I said SQL here, right? So it's the MySQL. So MySQL-u root. When you enter, you will be in a MySQL prompt. So this is what the prompt where you can create the databases, you can create the tables and all. So how the hierarchy is, see the hierarchy will be looking like this, especially the databases. See, first you have to start your server. This is important. Okay, MySQL server you need to start. Once you start a MySQL server, then you can create a database. Okay, you can create a database on your MySQL server. So this is the database, guys. Then inside the database, you can create tables, blah 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 and all. Okay, these are all the tables. Now similarly, under MySQL server, right, you can create n number of databases. There is nothing like one database. You can create n number of databases. Okay, so right now you might be thinking, okay, does MySQL, now we started MySQL server. Okay, I wanted to know if any databases are default created. So to see the default databases, show databases is a command which will show you the existing databases. Okay, so just try to copy this command and try to note it down over here. This command will show you, okay, for every SQL command, right, it ends with a semicolon. Okay, this thing. So this will show you the list of existing databases. Okay, now if you wanted to create a database, okay, so create database, set test is already there, hello world, I'm just, and semicolon. That's it, guys. A database has been created. If you wanted to see whether it is really created or not, same command, show databases. Did you see this? Hello world is created now, the database. Okay, So this is to create a database. Okay. Now once it is created a database, right? Now after that, I wanted to create some table inside the database. Okay. So if you want to create a table inside the database, what you're supposed to do, first of all, you should get into the database. Use, okay, hello world. What do you mean by use hello world is you are getting into the hello world database. Now nothing but you are getting into the directory of hello world. Okay. Now database change nothing but now you are in a hello world database. Okay. Now here you can perform a create table command. So before creating table, if you wanted to see does it have any existing tables, you just created a database, right? It's empty database. You don't find any tables. Can you see empty set? Empty set nothing but there are no tables. So once you create a database, okay, use hello world. So this will take you to the inside to the hello world. Okay. Now here you can run a command called shared tables. If any tables there, it will show you. Otherwise, it will show you empty set. So now you can start working on create table, blah blah blah. You can create a table, and so all these commands, DML commands, will be useful for you to perform the rest of the task. Okay. So I can just try to run a create table command. I'm not having any sample example because create table. Yeah. This create a table, empty table. This doesn't have any kind of rows and all, it's just empty table. So create, it's database, not table guys. Create table, syntax is wrong. Show tables. So typically for table you need to provide all the parameters guys, which is column IDs. Okay. So these are all the column IDs. I'm just trying to create this table guys. Okay, enter. This table has been successfully created. Okay, it is having how many columns? 1 2 3 4 5 6 columns are there. If you wanted to see the table related things, okay, what is the table name guys? Products, semicolon. Can you see this? The table has been created and you can see the description of the table. Okay, product ID, which is integer type, product code capital type, name varchar, quantity. So if you wanted to know about, like, these are the data types actually. For every column, every field you create it, right? Every field will be having a type variable. Okay, what type of variable it is. Okay, at the same time default value. Okay, whether it is a null or not. Okay, and also, like, we can define a primary key and foreign keys, and also right now product ID is a primary key. It will define the keys, and default it is a null, and extra, this is something like an auto increment. If something is entered right, it automatically incremented. So we know to go in depth of, like, getting into the table stuff and all, but you should have an idea. This is a command to create a table. Okay, now select star from this table, right click, sorry, not null. What is the table name? Product. Right now empty, there is no data. You created a columns, empty, you just created a column, but you didn't insert any data and all. Okay, so you can insert some data as well. So do we have an insert command over here? Yeah, inserting. So can you see this? Insert into product values. So 2 rows we are inserting here now. That's it. Now you try to run the select query guys. Can you see this? Product ID 1, product type pen, name pen blue, quantity. So I want you to, like, just practice all these queries so that you will be understanding what is the table, what is the column, what is the DML query. Okay, so show tables. Now try to run the show tables. Can you see the products table here? Okay, so this is what I wanted to explain to you with respect to the Mysql. Now we are playing around in a one database. If you wanted to, like, create a table in some other database, okay, now what you're supposed to do is show databases. Okay, and use, I wanted to go into the trusted database. Okay, now you change the database. Now you run show tables, you don't find products here. Did you see products here? No, the test database doesn't have any table. So the products table you see it in the hello world database. Okay, so you can see this tables in hello world, show tables nothing but. Okay, now when I say show tables here, it's an empty set. There is no table in your test one, right? So this is all about, like, something about creating installing a MySQL server, and starting the server and creating a database. Okay, and creating some tables and querying something. Okay, so now once this is done, okay, you might be thinking, when we start a MySQL server, people may ask you this question: on which port the MySQL server is running? Okay, MySQL runs on 3301 06 port by default. Okay, so default the MySQL server runs on 3306 port, guys. If you want, you can cross check it. Exit from MySQL prompt netstart minus nl grep for 3306. Did you see 3306 port is open? Okay, now what I can do it, I can show you. Let's stop this MySQL server. Now I stopped the MySQL server. Okay, right now you see, is the 3306 open? No, it's not open. Okay, so that's nothing but the default port of your MySQL server is a 3306. You can change the port number as well. Just look at the configuration file. Somewhere you can find in the etc conf. Next, suppose how to take backup. How to take backup of a DB. Okay, so how to take a backup of a DB? It's a simple command, guys. Now in a dollar prompt, there is a command called mysql dump. Okay, hyphen u username. Okay, root or whatever. And before creating, before using root, remember, guys, never create databases, tables and all by logging it with the root. Okay, because root is the administrator password. Typically the database administrator DBS will be having. Okay, when you are trying to log into your MySQL server, right, we shouldn't use the root. Instead of that, we should create some usernames and passwords. Okay, then we have to use those credentials to log into your MySQL server. So first of all, before proceeding, I want to show you create a MySQL account. Okay, so how to create a MySQL account? So that you can find it somewhere in this document, or create user. It's not there here. Anyway, we'll search it. MySQL create user with password and grant access, full access. Okay, this is what the command is to create a user, right? So what is the username? So let me create lead app is my username. Okay, and what is the password? Lead apps, guys. Anyway, we will be doing it that time, so that's the reason I'm creating that username password right away. So let's try to create this username password. Not here, you need to be there in the MySQL prompt, MySQL -u root. You should log in with root first. Okay, now enter. Now a username lead app has been created. Okay, now once it is created, we need to give the access as well, which is called granting the full privileges to this user. Okay, and what is the username? Lead app. Okay, that's it. So let's try to take the backup of this command so that you can run it. Right, now you successfully created a user, and you you can see uh, it is successfully executed. Now exit. So now in a dollar prompt, right, try to execute MySQL -u lead app. So now you're trying to log in with lead app account. So -p nothing but password. What is the password? Lead app. Just try to give there itself. Did you see this? You logged in with a now lead app user. It's not a root account. Okay. So show databases. You can see these databases, but the thing is, use hello world. Can you see? Reading table information for completion of the table columns names. You can turn off this feature to get. Okay, forget about it. So you logged in as a now, what do you call, another account, and you change the database as well. Okay, so you are in right now in a hello world database. So show tables. Okay, you can see the tables. Select star from products. Sorry, select star from. Okay, you can see the data. So this is how you create an account. Now come back to our actual point, how to take the dump, backup dump. So instead of root, what I will use, lead app -p lead app. Okay, then what is the database name? I want to take the backup of my hello world database. Okay, then I want to do save it with the name called SQL. Okay, the last name, this is called a redirection symbol. The backup file, the entire database will be backed up into this file. Okay, so let's see how it works. MySQL dump -u lead app -p lead app. Okay, there is no space between p and the lead app. Remember, hello world hello world dot SQL. That's it. It took the backup pretty quick. You might be thinking, how come it is so quick? There's nothing is there. A table with two rows. Okay. So now ls minus LTR, you can find hello world.sql. Okay. So try to open the SQL file, guys. This has like the entire stuff what you read it. So you create a table and you insert the data. Can you see this? It prepared such a nice one SQL file. Now with the help of this backup file, you can create the database like n number of times. So this is called like taking a backup of the existing database. Now suppose if you want to create a database, okay, and you wanted to load the data from the MySQL file, what you're supposed to do? Okay, so for that, MySQL-u lead app -p lead app. Okay, now try to create an empty database, guys. Create database. Okay, hello semicolon. That's it. It's done now. Okay, now you have an empty database. Now you wanted to load your hello world SQL into the empty database, so that you can do it like this: MySQL-u MySQL-u lead app. Okay, -p lead app. Okay, and what is your database name? Hello. And now the redirection should be this side. Okay, left side. Now what is the SQL file name? This one. Just enter. That's it, guys. It is successfully loaded. If you really wanted to see, log in with the lead app and use hello, get into the hello database and see show tables. Did you see this products table now in hello database? Okay, now you can just retrieve the data as well from products. That's it. Okay, you got the entire data. So what is the command to load it actually? This is what the command to load your SQL file. Okay, load SQL database. Okay, fine, guys. That's it. This is what I want to explain to you. Any questions with respect to MySQL? Any questions?
No.
Okay, good. So now we know the stuff like what is a MySQL server, what is Apache Tomcat server. So let's take couple of minutes to perform this deployment. Okay, I have a war file, I have a SQL file. Now this lead app war file we already deployed it yesterday. Now I need to deploy the lead app SQL file. Okay, so I have this lead app SQL file with me in my source code directory. Go to DevOps and practice lead app. Can you see inside the lead app source you have a Java code. At the same time inside the database folder you have a schema. This schema is a SQL file. Can you see SQL? And it has all the SQL queries. You just try to open this. Okay, it has all the queries like create command, insert command and all. Now my job is to run this and create a database. Okay, so let's try to do this, guys. SCP, I need to copy this into my database server. SCP schema.sql to vagrant at the rate 192.168.33.10 vagrant. Okay, get back here. Now exit VI. Try to open schema.sql here for once. VI schema.sql. You see the first line, drop database if exists lead. Okay, and create database lead. Okay, and grant privileges to lead app at localhost. So the username is lead app only. Use lead. So try to run this. MySQL -u lead app -p lead app. Okay, schema.sql. Access denied. Grant all privileges on lead. Okay, let's see. I don't think grant is required anymore because we already granted the things. That's it. It's done now. Okay. Now get into your lead app database. Okay. Show databases. Can you see lead app is created here? Yeah, lead. The database name is lead. Okay. You can cross check it with your notepad. I mean, you already seen this here, right? See, create database lead. Can you see this? It is created a database now. Now show tables. Did you see anything wrong, guys? Okay, I need to get into the database first. Use lead. Okay. Show tables. Can you see the tables? Category, lead, user. So it created some tables. Okay. Select star from lead. So you can see the data. There is no data in the lead. Okay. At least user. Yeah, user is having some data. John Miller. There is some user is there. Okay. So now we have successfully deployed the DB, guys. See how simple it is. Like, no, I know it is a very simple application, but when you get into the actual real world, you see n number of SQL files needs to be deployed, and your developer will let you know what all the SQL files you need to run it. Okay, so this is like a training where you see this kind of environment for the bigger projects. Now I'm showing you the smaller projects. That's only the difference, but you do the same stuff. Okay, now what else? Now I have successfully deployed my WAR file and SQL file. Now the question mark here is my application running properly? Is my application running? Okay, this is what the question. So to do that, you have to perform some smoke test. Smoke test nothing but you have to launch the website and try to log in. See, think about like a developer is there. He written some program. Okay, how did he verify whether his program is running fine or not? Similarly, when you do the deployment, right, you need to confirm whether your deployment is good or not, right? See, you did the deployment, but who will confirm like whether it's the deployment has been successful or not? So you need to perform some sort of a smoke test. Smoke test nothing but just verifying. That's it. Okay. So how to verify? So this verification process, the developer will let you know, guys, how to verify your application. Typically, they'll give you some URL or some web service to check. Okay. So for this application, right, the verification is you have to open, you have to launch the website first. Okay. So 192.168. The Tomcat website. Is it not running? Tomcat website. Did we run it on some other port? 8090, right? I think we did so many experiments yesterday. Let's see what's with our Tomcat 7 conf vi server.xml. Yeah, we changed the app base to deploy actually. Cool. So check it out. Okay, this is what your Tomcat. Now I need to access my application. Okay. So what is the username password? Tomcat, right? Tomcat, which is lead app. Okay. Try to access this application. Now this is failing. Now it is your job to fix it now. Okay, now we need to fix it because without opening this page I cannot do my smoke test. Okay, so let's see what happened with this one actually. So it should work fine. I don't know what happened. See, anytime, even I'm not a big genius in Java, guys. Even I don't know the Java coding much. Okay, but still whatever the information you have it, with the help of that I take the help of Google. Okay, and I'll try to like search for this kind of exceptions and get some output from there and try to fix it. Mostly like this is a running application. Okay, so what I will do first, I'll check the Tomcat logs. Can you see this? These are the log file location. So let me see if I have some info over here. Logs vi catalina.out. Okay, this was the important file, and so let's see something is there over here. I don't see anything specific. Okay, it says Java home, it is pointing to 1.7. Now what I will do it, okay, to make this clear, uh, shutdown.sh. Okay, vi catalina.sh Try to open this. Did you see Java home anywhere here? Yeah, it is there. Java home is there here. So now what I want to do, I want to set the Java home in the Catalina.sh, because Catalina.sh is a file which is called by your startup.sh. Okay, I wanted to set up the Java home explicitly. Okay, Java underscore home equal to JDK 8. Oh, not this, not this, not this, not this. Where did we put our Java, guys? Uh, Bash profile. No, Java is not there here at the moment. Okay, tar minus ZXPF JDK 8. Fine, dot dash profile. Okay, take this path, attach a tomcat 7 bin, open catalina.sh, and here just mention the path. So let's try to delete the logs once. Start it now. Tail minus self. Look at the logs. Okay, the tomcat has been successfully started. Let's see. Okay, manager app. Now let's see later. Still same issue. Okay, so there might be something wrong with the war file, I think. Let me see the war file creation. Okay, so get into this, the load XML. I understand now. We screwed up this configurations file. Okay, this is not the original one. When you're trying to perform the war file generation, right? So we changed many things. So that's the reason it is not working. Let me look at the original one. Okay, take the build.xml and build.populace, copy these two things, come back and paste it in over here, and we'll build the war file one more time, guys. Come on, I'll try to extract it. Yes to all. Okay, now cmd and war. Done. Now I have a new war file. Okay, over here. So let's try to deploy this war file, guys. Okay. Go back to your manager app, undeploy your war file. It's gone. Now come down, choose. I hope you know what you mean by deployment. Okay, so we tried this both the ways of deployment yesterday. The and practice lead app dist lib war deploy. Okay, now click on lead app. Now let's see how it goes. This time it looks good. My application is up and running. So something wrong with your war file, guys. So nothing with your system and all. Everything is good. Now you might be thinking, how do you test? I don't know username password. You ask your developer, guys. He will let you know. Okay. For right now, I'm letting you know because this is my project. So the username password for this application is, see, first of all you have to launch this. Okay. Right. Log in with, I think it is Java chat. even I didn't remember. Let me look at, I know how to get it from the database, guys. Okay, so MySQL -u lead app -p lead app use lead select star from user. Just now we are ran this, right? User. What happened? Spelling mistake anywhere? It's a from, not from. Okay, the username is this one. Email user at that Java chat. Email address is user at that Java chat. Password is user password is Java chat. Login. Here you go. It absolutely works fine. And right now there are no leads. Okay, if you want, you can cross check it, guys. Select star from lead. Lead is a table. Okay, sorry. Lead is a table. So use lead. There is empty set. Nothing is there. Now I'm going to insert some data from the UI, guys. Okay. IT services, DevOps engineer, uh, description, DevOps training. Okay. First name. You can choose my name. Okay. Okay. Submit. Did you see this? A record has been submitted. You can see one record here, right? Successfully. Now come back and check it out your read table. Did you see the same record here in the database? So this shows my smoke test has been successfully completed. Okay, my front end is communicating with the back end. Okay, and all is well and everything is good. Okay, this shows my environment is up and running. Okay, and deployment is successful. Okay, this is what I wanted to explain to you guys, what do you mean by deployment process. Okay, now whatever you did from the beginning to till now is entirely a deployment process. Okay guys, any questions still here? Any questions? Any queries? All of you?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, now if you're good with this deployment process, right, now whatever you did, right, everything is manual. Okay, everything is manual, nothing but everything. You connected the servers, you build it, you copied it, you ran it, you configured, like everything you did. Think about, in the real world, this is a very tiny application. Okay, in the real world you see such a big applications, n number of servers, like hundreds of servers, hundreds of artifacts. Okay, right? So, and hundred and different, this is one environment. You need to do the same thing, like different environment. There might be like a 4 to 10 environments may be there. Okay, so you have to perform this kind of a manual stuff for this huge number of environments, huge number of servers, huge number of artifacts. Okay, so to do for all these things, right, the first problem will be, okay, time consuming, and the second problem would be uh, errors. Okay, complexity, really very complex, and you will end up with n number of errors. Okay, and the third thing is no tracking. No tracking. What do you mean by no tracking? Nothing but suppose you deployed something. Somebody, like, you deployed 3 times something. Somebody may ask you, like, I want the previous deployment. So you don't know when you deployed what. Okay, you don't know the answer for when you like what you deployed, everything. So you don't have an answer. So if you try to follow the manual deployment process, okay, there is a lot of problems you will end up with. Like, it takes so much of time. Okay, because, and to avoid the time, you may recruit more number of resources. But again, if you recruit the more number of resources, what will happen? You have to pay for them. Okay, so that's another problem. So errors and complexity. So if you have n number of servers, like n number of artifacts and all, the complexity will be really bad. Okay, and at certain time it end up with, like, messy stuff. Okay, it is really difficult to manage the deployment environment. Okay, and errors. So we are humans, we do the mistakes, right? So if you follow the manual deployment, then we end up with some errors. Okay, so, and again, no tracking is, we don't track, like, when, which service, what we deployed, all this stuff. So these are the three important problems of deploying the things manually. So that's the reason the management or your project manager or like your company or your organization, whoever, they are giving a task to DevOps engineer, okay, to automate the deployment process. Did you get it now? Now go back to our initial topic, deployment process automation. Now actually you are there here to learn how to perform the deployment process automation, not to know the deployment process. Deployment process is a default prerequisite, you should know by asking your developer. If the developer tells you this is what you need to do, you should be able to do it. So that dev can also do it. But the thing is, they recruited you to perform the automation stuff, not to perform the manual stuff again. Okay, the manual anyone can do it who knows the stuff of what the developer is doing it. Okay, so now the next thing is automation. How we automate this deployment process. Okay, so that's where when it comes to the deployment process automation, okay, you need to depend on some technology or tools, that's for sure. Okay, so we will be see, earlier days, before these tools come into the picture, earlier days people used to depend on some scripting. Okay, scripting or coding, you can call it as a coding. So with the help of some coding, they used to automate it. Okay, they used to automate the entire deployment process with the help of the coding and scripting. Okay, that's a first level of automation people tried in the earlier days. Then later what happened, uh, there are a number of tools came into the picture. Okay, so these tools we few people call as the DevOps tools as well. Okay, see, when I say DevOps tool, it's not only deployment tool, right? It does so many other things. Okay, or you can call it as a config management tools, okay, or provisioning tools. So there are a number of tools are there. So later the people started making use of the tools to perform the deployments. Okay, then after now in the new generation, not now, maybe it's still people are using the tools. I've seen the completely the environment, bringing up the environments and doing the deployments is becoming what do you call, abstracted. I would say you won't be doing any kind of installation of a Tomcat, Mysql, deploying a var, blah blah. You don't do anything else. Okay, you ship them in a form of a containers. Okay, so in the future deployment, it's not 100% proved, but the containers deployment. Okay, you treat it like a box. Okay, simple thing, guys. How do you ship your goods to one country to other country? Okay, so you put everything in a container, and you put and your ship will take from your country to some other country, but nobody knows what is there inside the container. Am I right? Okay, so think about inside your container you have a Tomcat, MySQL, and your application, your configurations, blah blah blah, everything. Okay, now the same, now the next time I'm just trying to compare it with your shipping system, but think about a container, nothing but it's a pack of entire your software. You are moving from one machine to other machine without tickling or touching anything inside of the container. Okay, so this is what the next generation. This makes the people's life much easier, because this is a one-time creation of container, like environment to environment. You know, to do any stuff, you just start to move it. Okay, so we'll talk about that later, guys, but let's start from the beginning, which is how to automate your deployment process with the help of the scripting or coding. Okay, so typically when it comes to the system automation, we call it as a scripting, not a coding. Coding we call it for the business applications development. Okay, so now as part of the scripting, I'm going to explain to you guys. Okay, there are n number of scripting tools available in the market, like Perl, Python, Ruby. These are all the scripting languages are there in the market. Okay, PowerShell, okay, uh, Bash Shell, okay, and anything else? Anything else? Okay, there might be a number of scripting languages, guys. Okay, so it's up to you which scripting language you want to use it to automate your stuff. Okay, so as part of my training, I'm going to talk about the Bash shell. Most of the Linux or Java based applications, the Bash shell is the most popular one. With the help of that, you can automate the deployment process. And you know what, with the help of scripting, you not only automate the deployment process, you can do n number of other automations as well. See, automation is a generic word. Anything can be automated with the scripting language, especially with the IT stuff. Okay, so but the tools and containers are limited to some softwares and all. But when it comes to the coding language, right, any difficult requirement, you should be able to, like, write a script or write a code and you can automate. So that's the first thing. And next thing, the later part, after the, like, coding part, okay, the tools came into the picture. You might be thinking, if you could able to do the automation with the scripting, right, why the tools came into the picture? I'll give you the reason later, guys. Once we are done with the scripting stuff, once we automate our application with the scripting, then I'll explain you why the tools came into the picture. For right now, just try to understand what tools are there in the market to perform the deployment automation. Like, the most popular one is the Obscure Chef, and Puppet is another good tool, and Rundeck, okay, and deploy it, okay, Octopus deploy, okay. So there are some tools are there. There's a big list is there. If you want, you can just Google it, like, what all the deployment automation tools available in the market. You can see all of them, right? So it is, see, as a DevOps engineer, you should be uh, equipped with, or you should be, like, having a skill set of any one of the tool. See, people might ask, like, do you know the Puppet? Do you know the deploy? See, you can tell them, like, I know one of the tool which does the entire deployment automation. See, once you know one tool, right, learning the other thing, or like exploring other thing, is a self-explanatory. Anybody can do it, okay? So, and again, in any company, right, nobody will do the deployments or anything with two tools, more than one, okay? Nobody makes use of multiple things to perform the same job, right? So as part of our training, we're going to discuss the Obscure Chef, guys. Okay. Next, container stuff. So container stuff, there are different container technologies available. It's in a kind of still in an evaluation or, like, inception phase, but the most popular one or in the market, which is a Docker. Okay. So this will see it at the end of the sessions, guys, because first you need to get a hands-on of all these two things. Okay. Then we can go to the containers. Then we can see how do we ship our application with the help of the Docker containers. Okay. So with this, we will be pretty much done with everything of the deployment process automation. Then all are done. Then at the end, I'll talk about the continuous delivery with Jenkins pipeline plugin. Okay, so when I'm using the Jenkins pipeline plugin, I'll make use of, like, any one of it. Okay, because I told you deployments can be done either with the scripting or with the tool or with the container. So we'll use any one of it in the pipeline to complete the continuous delivery process. This is what the agenda for next few days. Okay, which we are going to, like, discuss. Now, as to start, to begin with that, now I'm going to start with the scripting first. Okay, so we'll choose the bash shell as our scripting language, and we'll start like, learning the scripting part. And once this is done, we'll try to automate lead app application deployment with scripting. Are you getting? With scripting, right? So automate the lead app application with scripting. Now that is after learning the scripting. Now once you learn the scripting of once you learn the chef tool, automate with the help of the Obscure Chef. Okay, now once you learn the containers, which is Docker, and try to, like, automate your lead app deployment with Docker. Okay, so this is what we are going to discuss. It's a lengthier topics, all of them. Okay, will take at least 2 weeks from now. Okay, so we need to take little more sessions actually for this. Whatever the time is there, not sufficient enough, so I may take little more time in the weekends. Okay, so for today, I don't want to, like, begin a new topic now, because we already end up with the time. And tomorrow freshly we'll start with the bash shell scripting, guys. Okay, so tomorrow at what time you are available, guys? Guys, tomorrow what time? Is it okay? The last week time, afternoon, 3 o'clock, India time. Hello, Kiran.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with the time.
Okay, if it is 3,
3 o'clock.
It's okay.
okay, how about Mahendra?
It's okay, bro.
Okay,
The time
Vamshi?
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, Vamshi, your time,
Yeah,
please.
okay, go on with the time. I don't know whether I come or not. I'll
Okay,
go with the video, no problem.
okay, if that is, if see, I told these guys to 3 because of you only, because for you it is 6 a.m. See, if you're not
Yes,
coming
yes.
in, then what I will do it for these guys, I'll make it around 2:30, 2 o'clock. Okay, I don't want to waste my time as well, because 9:30 is too late for
Sure,
me.
sure. Then go on with it. Yeah,
Okay,
go on with 2
so
o'clock, no
yeah,
problem. Yeah,
Kiran and
yeah.
Mahendra. So what we will do it, your 2:30 is for me 9 a.m. Okay, we'll fix 2:30.
Okay.
What do you say? 2:30? Is it okay?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So we'll meet 2:30 tomorrow morning, guys. Okay. I'll put an email as well. Shashi is not there, so maybe he can look into the email and he can join. Okay. Thanks so much. We'll catch up tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.